This is Dr. Michelle Oakley of UConn Vet, and I'm talking to Jim and Florence on the forum.
Hi, everyone. This is James Patrick, and we are very excited always when we do a book review with our celebrities, but we also have a special book review that we're going to be doing. Florence, how are you? I know you're just as excited as I am.
Oh, I am. I am very excited. Not only am I a huge fan of this author, but her first book was really compelling, and it was very hard to put it down. And I actually remember staying up all night with the first book, and of course, I did the same thing with the second book that we are going to review. It was definitely a page-turner. Had a really hard time putting it down.
I love the Heaven Sent series so far, and the only thing I'm disappointed in is that the third book isn't out yet. But wow, this is one of those that you're just like saying, okay, this is really good. I love the energy. Like we talked about before, JL's huge strength to me is these characters come to life and they're real. You don't have superheroes or supervillains. They're all kind of have a little bit of complication to them, where they have struggles with thoughts, just like we do. They have struggles with their actions and following through and what should they do in decision making. That's something I really enjoy with JL's writing.
Absolutely. And I also love the fact that, like with her first book, with Atonement, how she had, her heroine, her main character, Genevieve, and how, it was really a spotlight. It was really her story, but she had her siblings who all played a role. Now with the second book, Hellbound, the second book in the series, now you see Deborah. And Deborah also has the help of her family and other siblings as well. It's a very big family. There's many characters. But what I love is how they go from that first book into the second book. I love how it just easily goes into the second book, and it takes you on such a ride. So many things happen. There's so many cliffhangers. And I tell you again, I could not put down this book. I was so excited to get it that I purposely waited for the weekend because I thought I'm just going to put this aside. And I ended up starting to read it, and forget the weekend. I was done that night. I just could not put it down, stayed up all night to read it.
We call this an AN book, an all-nighter, because this is one of those books that you pick up, and like you said, you just keep reading it, and then you say, gosh, I'm tired, but I got to get to the next part. What I like about this book, too, is that Deborah is not, when you do the right thing, sometimes doing the right thing is hard. Sometimes when you're doing it, you're wondering, you start questioning yourself, questioning your actions, questioning the way you're perceiving things. And that's what I really liked about her. I totally related to what Deborah was going through in this book.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, in the first book, the heroine, Genevieve, because this is about the O'Mara family, I really, really loved her. I love the way she was written. I love the way Jen writes, so descriptive. And I felt same thing with Deborah in this second book, Hellbound. I was so worried that because I loved Genevieve so much from the first book that I wasn't going to get into another character in the second book, because each character in this book has their strengths, their weaknesses. They have their own character, which Jen writes beautifully, very well defined. She's a very good writer, very descriptive. But again, I did fall in love with Deborah as well. And all the trials and tribulations, everything that she goes through, we don't want to give away too much. We don't want to get into specifics. But I tell you, it really does take you on a ride. And the ending, all I can say is wait till you get to the ending.
Now, all the books that we talked about this off air, there's a lot of books out there and a lot of things you could feel. I would say that 90% of books that I read, I feel the ending is either rushed or forced or just kind of, wow, let's throw a crazy storyline in there to kind of make it crazy and make it weird and make people come back. But it doesn't seem natural. This is one of the best transitional endings that I've seen in a book in a long time. I'm talking about professional writers who have been writing for 20, 30 years. Jen has a way of character development. That's her big strength. I think you could learn that, but she's just a natural at it. These characters, you grow with them, you learn with them, you understand their trials and tribulations, and it's just an amazing talent that she has. And then her way of saying, what would I want to see? What is the fun thing, or a page turner, or a crazy story, or something that people won't see at the end to make them coming back for more. And I think the ending, if you just read the last 100 pages, it would be great. But this book from start to finish is a great book. But this ending, out of all the books that we've done, might be the best ever, Florence.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I have to say, as far as her writing, and I've said this before, creative writing, I mean, it's something I even took creative writing courses in college. I think it's such a talent. And I think Jen has that. I think JL Rothstein, when it comes to writing, her characters are so well developed. There's so many layers to her characters. But again, I have to say, with this second book, the cliffhangers, the turns, I mean, these characters are going in so many different directions, but yet when you get to the ending, it all makes sense. And that's what's so exciting about it. It's not just that there are surprise endings, and it's maybe something very unexpected, something that you really didn't think would happen, but it's the way she gets you there. You know, it's a beautifully written roller coaster ride. And again, it's really hard to put this book down. I thought the first one was hard to put down. I think this one was probably even harder to put down, because you started the book wanting to know what happened from the ending of the first book. You wanted to know how the second book was going to sort of tie up those loose ends and take you into another direction. And the whole time you're just really on the edge of your seat, because you're like, man, where are we going with this next? Like, where is she taking us? Like, you think about it, this character, Deborah, she ends up being the heroine in this story, in this second book. And of course, her other siblings, the other family members are there to help her and intervene, because she really does need that. I mean, she goes into an area where it gets pretty dark, gets pretty scary. She's there to really slay. And again, kudos to Jen. The ending, again, you're not going to be able to put it down, because you're going to want to know. You're going to want to know about the ending. And I agree with James. One of the best written endings ever in a book, ever.
Yeah, JL Rothstein is really, and we're not talking of all time. Oh God, these guys like her and they're saying this. I don't say things just to say them. I've read some books even from friends that I'm like, that was really nice, but I'm not going to say, oh my God, it's the best movie in the history of the world. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, from all the books that we've talked about and we reviewed, I think this one has a transition that is amazing for the third book. It makes you want it. And what's so great about JL is we know behind the scenes how hard she works. Everyone is kind of amazed at the work that we do. She works hard too. And you're seeing people like this. You're seeing people like Carolyn Spacek and other writers that just really put their all into these. So please, also, last thing before we end this, when you do a review, and please do a review, if you write a book, the reviews are so important, because authors want to get better. They want to make sure that they're connecting with the readers, but please be respectful. If this is someone's first trilogy, if this is someone's first book, do not go on and just trash it. It crushes people, because some of these reviews are way too tight, way too harsh. And there's a thing called karma too, I think. But again, be respectful. If there's some things that you may not agree with grammatically or spelling or whatever, editors make mistakes, people make mistakes. But again, remember, every book usually gets better. And I didn't think that JL was going to get a better book in the second book, but she did. So proud of JL Rothstein.
Absolutely.
Excellent book. So for me, I couldn't believe that she could top the first book, but she did. I give it a 5-star review. This is an amazing book. I'm going to read it again. And again, like last thing what Florence said, when you remember Harry Potter, you remember the great things of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. You see things, and once you get going in the plot and in the stories and the books, it fills in the holes of questions that you had in previous chapters. And that's what I like about it. That's what Florence was saying, when it has surprise endings or it has surprise storylines and surprises with decisions. It's amazing because it fills in the cracks where you're like, gosh, I always thought about that. So Florence, 5 stars. give you the last word.
Absolutely. 5 stars from me as well. I can't say enough about the book. Absolutely. The character development, the writing, it takes you on a ride, just like the first book. But I think this one's even more layered. I think it's more colorful. I think the ending is going to just wow everyone. It's an amazing ending. Again, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of cliffhangers. So it's more than one ending, more than one cliffhanger. There's a lot there, a lot to look forward to. And absolutely with the reviews. I think that if you do buy the book and you do read it, absolutely leave a review, because I think that does help authors helping authors. And if you're just a lover of books, absolutely leave a review. I know that Jen would really appreciate it. You need to get Hellbound. You need to get book 2 in the series. And all I have to say is, Jen, I am already waiting for book 3. And I know a couple of people that feel the same way, who I talked to recently, who I know loved the second book, are now saying, well, what about the third? So absolutely get this book. Leave a review. Let us know what you think, because I know Jen would really, really enjoy that.
And if you have some reviews, make sure to email us, put it under in the comments on our podcast, or even contact us on Twitter. If you're a reviewer or a reader, we would be more than happy to retweet it and give you some love and support. Let's support each other. Hellbound, book 2 in the Heaven Sent series by JL Rothstein. 5-star review. Awesome book. Get it. We'll see you next time on the forum.
Thank you.